Are you ready to make the K page for our ABC book? If you haven't guessed already, we are going to make a koala bear. So here is what it's going to look like. And we will begin. So you need your black piece of construction paper and your bag with the K and all of the pieces in it. You will also need some glue. You will need a black crayon and a white crayon. And a white crayon. Okay, so you should have a two brown rectangles, one's large and one is smaller. Those are the first two pieces we're going to use. We have our K's and our koala fun fact. We have a long skinny green rectangle. We have a yellow square. And then we have a variety of gray pieces. There are 4 different gray rectangles. And we have a small black square, rectangle. So the first two pieces we're going to use are the brown rectangles. And let's start with the larger one. We are going to wavy cut both long sides and one of the short sides. Now you're trying to make this look like a branch. So if you could just kind of imagine a branch, and then that will kind of help you with your cutting. Because branches are kind of wavy but jagged. Okay. So I have my first branch cut out. The second branch, the smaller brown rectangle, we are going to do the same thing to this one. And we are going to wavy cut this. You'll notice I have not glued this one on yet. And I am going to keep wavy cutting and let my trash fall into the trash can. Okay, into the trash tray, I should say. Okay, so these two, the large branch is going to start in the lower left corner, and I am going to have it go right over to the side. So it's not on the diagonal, but it's definitely on an angle. I am going to put some glue dots on the back of this branch, put it right here in the corner, and then aim it right to the side. This next branch is kind of what the koala bear is using for his chair, you might say. I am going to slide it under the larger branch and move it down a little bit and have it so it's like the branch is kind of leaning up against the this side of the paper. Okay, after you've done that, you can go ahead and glue your K's on in the upper right hand corner. And then we're going to glue our fun fact at the bottom. Our fun fact today says koala bears are not bears but marsupials, like kangaroos. They are nocturnal. That's why we're using the black paper, because they are nocturnal. So they're a marsupial because they have a pocket for their babies, similar to a kangaroo. So let's glue this to the bottom of our paper. And it can be right on top of the branches here. Okay, so we are going to start cutting out the rest of the picture. We're going to use the yellow square. This is going to be the moon. We are going to cut all 4 corners, and then I'm going to go back and magic cut all those little points that I just made. Okay, so hopefully it looks a little bit like a circle. We are going to glue this kind of in the middle area. Going to put 4 glue dots on and turn it around and just kind of glue it right here in the middle. We're going to be putting our koala on top of the moon. I think I'm going to scoot it up just a little bit by the K. Okay, the next piece we are going to use is the largest gray rectangle, and this is your koala's body. So I'm going to turn this into a horizontal position, and I am only going to cut the top 2 corners. I'm going to cut there, and then I'm going to magic cut those. I know it seems funny to keep his body square like that, but it just works. Okay, so I'm going to add some glue dots to the back, 4 glue dots, and I am going to lean my koala, make my koala so he's leaning up against the branch, and I want to make it so he's sitting on this branch down here. Okay, the next piece we're going to use is the gray square. If we take and we cut all 4 corners, we will be able to make something that looks like a circle. This is going to be our koala's head. Then magic cut all those little points so it looks like you have ended up with a circle. Okay, this gets glued to the top of his body. Once again, glue dots. And I am going to glue it right at the top of the body and overlapping onto the body. And if it's on top of the moon, that's just perfect. Okay, we have 2 more gray rectangles. We are going to use the smaller fat rectangle. These are going to be the koala's ears, and we are going to fold this. Okay, I am going to hold it. I'm going to hold the fold, and then I'm going to only cut the top 2 corners that are away from me, and then I'm going to magic cut those corners. Make sure you have your trash tray under you because these are little pieces. Okay, now I'm going to continue to hold the fold and the straight edge, and I am going to do a fringe cut, because if you've ever looked at koala's ears, they kind of have a lot of fur, and the fur is kind of going every which way on them. So I've got my fringe cut going on here, and now I'm going to cut it on the fold and cut it apart so I have 2 ears. Now this is where only putting glue dots on your paper is really important, so we can slide these underneath the koala's head. I put the glue away from the fringe, and then I'm going to slide each ear underneath the head and the curved part facing out. Sometimes you have to kind of lift it up a little bit. Okay, so hopefully it's starting to look like a koala. Okay, now we're going to use this piece, the long skinny gray rectangle. This gets folded in half. These are going to be his legs. Now we're only going to do 2 legs, even though koalas have 4 legs, because it's like we're looking at the koala on the side and we can't see the other 2 legs that are behind. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is hold this in a vertical position, and I am going to cut the top 2 corners and magic cut that. Okay, after I've cut these corners, now I'm going to hold the folded edge, and I'm going to straighten that up because it got a little crooked, and I'm actually going to hold it closer because now I'm going to do wiggly cut across there, and you can see my wiggly cut a little better if I put it against the black. I'm going to open it up, and if it's still attached together, go ahead and cut that apart. And I'm going to, okay, so one of these is going to go up here for his arm, and one is going to go down here for his leg. So I'm going to add some glue dots and glue his leg on, and glue dots, and put his arms sticking out, and you're going to overlap them into his body. Okay, so we are almost done. We have the small black rectangle. This is his nose. Koalas have very interesting noses. So the first thing we're going to do is cut all 4 corners. And because it is so small, when I cut the corners, I don't have to cut big, large triangles off. You're going to magic cut those little points that you have just made around all those corners. So hopefully it looks like an oval. Now, this is in a vertical position. I'm going to keep it in a vertical position, and now I'm going to cut this side here, and I'm going to do a smile cut. So remember, a smile cut goes down or in, across, and then out. And it, whoops, looks like that. I'm going to cut these 2 points off, here and here, just to round it a little bit. Now I'm going to turn it around and hold where I just cut, and I'm going to do the opposite side. Going to go down, across, and out. And I'm going to cut off my little points, and now I have his nose. Their nose gets glued right kind of to the middle of his face. I made it a little funny up there. That's okay. It makes it look better when it's a little bit funny like that. Okay, I'm going to glue this right in the middle of his face, like that. Okay, so our koala is done, but we still have to add some leaves. Did you know that koalas only eat eucalyptus trees? So, and eucalyptus leaves are long and skinny. So with this paper, we are going to make 4 leaves. So to start with, we are going to fold the paper in half, open it up, cut it on the fold. Now I have 2 green rectangles. You can set one down, and this one we're going to cut 2 leaves out of. When we're done cutting the 2 leaves out of this one, then, whoops, I'm going to keep it folded. Okay, now I am going to house cut. So I'm going to house cut this side, and then I'm going to magic cut those little points off the side, so now it looks a little more like a leaf. Then I'm going to house cut the other end of my long green rectangle, And now I'm going to magic cut the points on the sides. And you should have 2 leaves. If they're still together, make sure you cut them apart. I'm going to set those down on my paper, and I'm going to do the exact same thing to this one. Hold it in a vertical position, do a house cut, and then magic cut the points on the side, turn it around, house cut the other side, magic cut those points on the side so it looks a little more like a leaf. And you should have 2 leaves when you're done. And we have 2 leaves here, so 4 leaves total. I am done with my trash tray, so I'm going to set that aside, and I am going to arrange my leaves right here on this part of the branch. So I'm going to do some glue dots. I want to make it look interesting, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue 3 of the leaves pointing upward, and I'm going to glue 1 of the leaves pointing downward to make it a little more interesting, so I don't just have 2 and 2. Okay, so we are almost done. Time for the crayons. So the first crayon we're going to use is the black crayon, and for this crayon we are going to add some eyes to our koala. Okay, a koala's eyes are right up here, and you can just color 2 kind of circle ovals right up there, and we are done with this side of the paper. Our koala is done. Turn it over. Now you need the white crayon because you are going to write your name, because when I get these back at the end of the week, I have to know which one's yours so I can put it in your book, because it's going to be cool. You're going to have your very own alphabet of animal books that you made yourself by the end of school. Okay, have fun making your koala.